Alright, hello everybody. This is my dissertation. This is, I don't know what part this is. I kind of forgot. I didn't look at that beforehand, but, anyway, chapter 3. Um, this might be somewhat of a boring chapter, but I'll go over my purpose. The purpose of the E-Delphi Method Technique study was to explore alternative restorative justice solutions in the workplace, to replace the use of control and oppression that some managers and leaders use in the United States. The main research objective for the study was to provide solutions to improve organizational justice by comprehending effective restorative justice resolutions. Common themes were identified to present a holistic, thematic, and ordinal understanding of effective restorative justice solutions in the workplace. So basically, this is just going to involve the study methodology, research questions, population, and sampling. I'll probably go over some of that. It'll also address ethical steps, ensuring confidentiality, and adhering to approved informed consent. I'll talk about the instrumentation and credibility and transferability and the steps for data collection and analysis. Um, so, I'll go over everything important. This shouldn't be too long on this chapter, and some of it I may just let you read. Um, this just is about how the study is structured, really, for the most part. Nothing about any knowledge within the study. So, let's get down to it. Okay, I chose a qualitative method right here. The main reason why, or the reasons why, is because a qualitative method can be an appropriate approach to research that leads to an in-depth understanding of experiences and perceptions, context, situations, processes, and strategies practiced by people. Um, Qualitative research can encompass a detailed, in-depth data collection analysis effort involving multiple sources of information, leading to case descriptions and themes. Qualitative researchers' objective is to understand the phenomenon from the participant's point of view or participant's viewpoint without manipulating the data. Qualitative data collection tools consist of emerging questions and data collection tools such as interviews, focus groups, observations, document analysis, and oral history or life stories. I didn't choose the quantitative method because it's impersonal. Personally, I don't really care for statistics for the most part. Uh, so there's no variables. I didn't need to do a hypothesis or reject it or accept it. The qualitative researchers the quantitative researchers' approach to data collection tools include surveys or questionnaires. Well, I did do those, but it's in respect to a qualitative method, in which I'll get into. But yeah, basically the main reason why is because statistics wasn't needed, and I'm not a very pro-statistic person either. So, and I didn't choose to do a mixed method, even though the study kind of sounds mixed method. It's still qualitative because I didn't go through certain quantitative portions in the math of my study. So there's no reason that this would be a mixed method. But we'll say I did the quantitative mixed methods, but it didn't really allow me to dig into the minds of the researchers. That's really the main reason, is I wanted to understand the experience of the researchers, so I went with qualitative. And but I also have to include like a lot of other stuff as to why to make a paragraph. And paragraphs have to be at least 3 sentences. But I did a qualitative method. There is a paucity of research on restorative justice, and this way I can understand and perceive the lived experience of the participants, and it also allows me to delve into the minds of the participants by interviewing, asking questions, asking follow-up questions, listening, and analyzing participants' stories. Now, design appropriateness. Entails basically why I picked an E-Delphi study. You know, there's not enough evidence to do any of the other 2 right here, the phenomenology or a case study, and it's not a new study, so I'm not going to do a grounded theory either. And so I declined a phenomenological study. I just declined to do a case study because it's not needed yet, and I didn't do a ground study because I'm not creating a new theory. But I chose an E-Delphi Method Technique. The E-Delphi Method Technique allows a researcher to uncover knowledge about a phenomenon. The E-Delphi technique allowed the researcher to communicate with individuals and form a consensus of opinion on a collective basis, and the consensus of opinion provided the researcher with techniques that improve restorative justice in the workplace. Using the E-Delphi Method Technique allowed the researcher to engage a panel of experts to provide their knowledge and experience for effective restorative justice resolution strategies. The E-Delphi Method Technique study was an appropriate design to form a consensus independently and objectively. Okay, so the research question is, what is the consensus of opinion from a panel of organizational experts on effective restorative justice solutions in the workplace? So the researcher developed 6 questions for the questionnaire for round 1 of the qualitative E-Delphi Method Technique. Okay, and then after the data, okay, and this kind of follows what the E-Delphi is about. After the data analysis for round 1, the researcher designed additional questions from the data collected in support of the researcher's question for the Likert scale questionnaire. After the data analysis for round 2, the researcher provided the themes that qualified from round 2 for the participants to rank in round 3. The questions for the questionnaire guide were discussed in this chapter under the data collection section. And, well, maybe I do get into a little bit uh, maybe, no, maybe, I don't know. We'll find out. And the initial questions for the field test are located in Appendix A, the population and sample. Okay, the population is the total amount of people that describe a certain classification. The sample is the part of the population that the researcher studied. So the sample was business managers and leaders, researchers or theorists, and probation officers that are representatives of individuals that are in the field of restorative justice. Not going to go on to explain any of that. I did purposive sampling. In other words, my sampling was at random because I'm doing experts. So I was allowed to basically choose my participants. I used, the researcher chose to utilize triangulation using data sources, and the participants represented a variety of fields. The fields that were represented were researchers or theorists, managers, and leaders from business organizations, and probation officers. The three fields pose three unique perspectives to form a consensus of opinion on effective restorative justice solutions in the workplace. Okay, and then I talk about the researchers and theorists, managers and leaders, and probation officers again. So the population is around 1,000 expert organizational business leaders and managers, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so these are the qualifications. So there 5 or more years of experience performing restorative justice solutions in the workplace, as a researcher or theorist, in the workplace, as a researcher or theorist or a probation officer. Participants must have been in lower, middle, or upper management positions nationwide, or leaders in research or theory, or a leader as a probation officer. Have the willingness and time to participate in the E-Delphi Method Technique. And 4, can communicate effectively. The sample size for the study was 10 organizational leaders and managers in their respective fields. Now, informed consent, I'm not really going to go over that. That was just pretty much standard, but I'll allow you to read it. All this talks about is, I'm going to give them a form to sign saying that they're good to participate in the study. And that they understand what they're getting into and what their rights are. And yeah, I went over it with them. Check something here. So the instrumentation, I'll go over a little bit of that. So round 1, I asked 6 open-ended questions, and that was analyzed. Round 1 was analyzed by this QSR in Vivo 12. And what that was, or is it's basically, once I received the emails from the participants from their open-ended questions, I had this program, and this program basically analyzed it for me and grouped everything together to where I could easily create themes. Round 2, I used a 5-point Likert scale survey. And you may not know that name, but I'm pretty sure everybody's done that. That's, you have like strongly disagree, neutral, somewhat, or agree, and then strongly agree. 5 points, you see. I was an instrument in the whole process because I'm collecting the materials. And then a ranking system. The themes that were left, I asked the participants to rank their top 5, with 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest. I think that's how I said it, or maybe that was backward. I have it in here. Oh, and the participants, I found the participants on LinkedIn is how I did that. See, yeah. So the researcher was a primary instrument. LinkedIn was a secondary instrument. The questionnaires were the third. The Likert scale was the 4th. And let's see, we're looking for the median score of a 3.5. Anything under a 3.5 I eliminated. A ranking survey was the 5th instrument. My email was the 6th instrument. In vivo was the 7th instrument. And yeah. And that did it in. These were the research questions right here. What is a consensus of opinion from a panel of organizational experts on effective restorative justice solutions in the workplace? From your experience, please elaborate on the effectiveness of restorative justice. What leadership characteristics, traits, and qualities create the best environment for restorative justice? Elaborate on if shame or guilt should be part of the restorative justice process. Describe a positive transformation that occurs during the restorative justice process that improves employees individually and collectively. Oh, part of that got cut off on here for some reason. Why did that get... What are the ultimate... Hold on. Hopefully... Okay. I had to go to the appendix because I don't know why they got cut off right there. So that's something I have to look into before I publish this in the Library of Congress. But so, what are the optimal strategies for beginning and ending the restorative justice process? And then finally, how would you improve the restorative justice process? Alright, so those are the questions. Now I'm going to go back up to, I think it was page 80. Okay, so now here we are. But after this, see, round 2 will be a 5-point Likert scale that comes from the round 1 questions based on the answers, and then round 3, additional round questions are developed based on the answers provided in round 2, and so the round 3 ranking scale depended on round 2. And I've done about 15 minutes, so And I do go into a little bit of the data collection process, so I'll save the rest of chapter 3 for next time. It shouldn't be too much longer. It should only be like 10 more pages, but I'm already at 20 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it right here for today, and depending on time, next week, maybe I'll go into a little bit of chapter 4. But we'll definitely finish chapter 3. Alright. Well, you guys have a good one. Peace.